What's up, guys? Universal Mastery. So what I do on my channel is I break down the occult sciences to a very practical level so that you can use the principles in your day-to-day life and get actual results. So what we're going to be talking about in today's video is something that's very interesting, and this was also recommended by one of my viewers. What we're going to be talking about in today's video is AI technology and the Archon. Stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is definitely go and check out my Patreon. The Patreon is going to be located at the first link in the description, and basically what you're going to gain access to if you become a tier 2 or up, you're going to gain access to an exclusive YouTube video weekly that is not going to be uploaded to my YouTube channel, and the videos that are already on my Patreon are absolutely essential. Okay, especially if you're gonna start using this art and actually start practicing. I have a step-by-step breakdown video of an actual invocation that I think would absolutely offer someone value that doesn't really have too much experience. And even for people that do have experience, this would definitely offer you value, because I have a video of me actually doing the invocation and breaking it down. So in order to be a tier 2, it's going to cost $9.95 a month, and that's going to be a reoccurring payment. But the thing is, if you really do the math, that's less than $1 a day. So $9.95 a month, that's less than $1 a day. And for the value that's offered, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to afford that. Then you go down in tiers, the price goes up a little bit, but also the benefits go up. And when you get to the final tier, I actually perform a self-empowerment ritual for you on the 7th of every single month. So definitely make sure you go and check that out. And what I want to do before I go into the video is give a special shout out to those of you who are the top tier members. Their names are going to be mentioned right below the Patreon link. And then I want to give a special shout out to all my other Patreon members, because I love you guys and I love the support that you give my channel. But other than that, now I'm going into this video. This is going to be a good one. Okay, so wow, this is going to be a really good one. So we're talking about AI technology and Archons. Okay, so let's start with this. What exactly is an Archon? And this one gets a little bit like gets caught up in the mix when you talk about Archons, because there's a lot of like there's some mythology behind it, and then there's some mixed ideas about it. Like, this is the demons are Archons, or the devil is the Archon, and the demiurge, God created the Archon. It's just a lot of mixed up stuff. It's very similar to the idea of the demiurge. Like, people don't really know about it, but in reality, it's like we are the demiurge. So let me explain this. The Archon is basically it's basically an intelligence that brings such a materialized enlightenment that in its context is used irresponsibly and then wipes out mankind, or is just used in a way that's not healthy. And what I'm getting at here is that, like, the Archon is basically an Archon is an intelligence. So AI and Archon completely ties together. Archon is going to be essentially like this. Like, if I was to create an actual AI robot, right? And that robot became so intelligent that I could literally send it to do everything for me. Like, I wouldn't have to work, I wouldn't have to make my YouTube videos, I wouldn't have to exercise, or I wouldn't have to cook healthy food and eat it. It just did absolutely everything for me. And then I could just chill and sit inside all day and just kind of just do what I do. So obviously that's not healthy, because I'm not interacting with the world, I'm not growing, I'm not getting out there, I'm not experiencing what it's like connecting with other people, I'm not doing what my purpose is anymore, because I have this robot that's doing everything for me. It's working for me, it's giving me money, all this stuff. So I want you to think of the Archon being that robot, yet the robot was created by me, And now, because I am irresponsible and I've created this thing that can do everything for me, now I feel like I have the right to just sit back and not do anything for the rest of my life. Now you could see how that would end up being destructive towards my life's path and my life's journey, because once again, I'm not doing my purpose anymore. I'm not going out anymore. I just feel like there's no need for me to do anything except for just purely just being selfish and just laying down all day and relaxing. Which, you know, sounds kind of good and sounds like it could have its benefits, and it sure would, but in reality, in the longevity, in the long run, that would end up destroying me, because I would become weak, my mind would not be where it should be, and once again, I would just stop growing. It'd be like a kink in the hose. So, I want you to imagine that's what the Archon is. Okay, it's that robot that I created that now does everything for me. So it really comes down to my responsibility. Now, what if I created that same robot and I'm still out here in the field, I'm still doing what I do, and I have that robot helping me do what I need to do as well? Then that's a good situation. That's just me figuring out ways to, you know, add benefit to my life. Okay. So it's not a good or bad thing. The Archon isn't a good or bad thing. It's not an evil or not evil thing. It just is. The Archon is just that AI, and the potential of what we could end up having. So I'm gonna break this down a little bit more, and you know, obviously I use this example as me creating a robot, and I'm using that hypothetically so that you guys can have an understanding. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about how I think, and this is what I'm picking up on intuitively that's going to start happening with our future. And the way I'm receiving this information is by the studying that I've been doing, watching one major source was the Joe Rogan and Elon Musk podcast. So I watched that, and I watched it very intentfully, and with the things that I already know, I'm going to share with you my breakdown of what I think is going to start moving forward, especially with the background of spirituality and knowledge that I have already, to add to what Elon Musk was saying with what's going to end up going down with the AI technology and what they're planning on doing in the near future. So this is what's going on. So Elon Musk was talking about how there is going to be this neurological chip that they will be able to implant within your brain to then attach certain nerve endings to, that at first will be geared towards people that have issues like they're blind, paraplegic, I believe it was epilepsy, even people that are probably paralyzed for extensive amounts of time. So this chip is going to be used for people that have serious medical conditions. But what it's going to do when they implant it in your brain and they hook up the right neural receptors to it, it's basically going to cause a stimulation effect on the certain nerve endings that are dormant, that are causing those issues to manifest. And because it's gonna stimulate that, they're gonna, like, someone that was blind is going to have sight again. Someone that was not able to stand up and walk normally is going to be able to stand up and walk normally. And that stimulant is going to cause the brain, because our mind is already very similar to a robot, in the sense that we are constantly reprogramming our minds. We're constantly evolving. That's what evolving is. It's upgrading your system. It's literally upgrading your mind. That's why when you touch a pan and it burns the fuck out of you and it hurts, your mind says, no, we don't do that. That hurts. We're not going to do that again. And that's why you won't go up to a pan and purposely burn yourself when you didn't know that beforehand. So that's what it's going to be used for in the beginning. And I'm also going to tie some of this into the Bible. Okay, I'm going to tie some of what's going to go down in the Bible, because, and the reason why, okay, and you're going to see what's going on here, but there's a lot of correlations here. And the reason why the Bible and all these other cultures have this knowledge of, you know, the things that are actually happening in our today's time, the reason why they have that knowledge and they know what's going to end up happening in this time is not because they're necessarily psychic. I'm not discrediting the fact that there's psychics out there, and there was definitely psychics back in that time, but it's not because they're necessarily psychic. It's because these are patterns that happen throughout the entire lifetime. These are patterns that have happened with multiple cultures, where a culture will rise, it will get to a very high level, and then it will crash. This is literally how it will always happen throughout the rest of time. This is essentially how the universe operates. This is Mother Nature's way of existing and growing. It will always rise and fall. So what I'm getting at is, in the Bible, we hear a lot of mention about the Antichrist. We hear a lot of mention about during the apocalyptic times, meaning towards the end times of humanity and life, there is going to be the Antichrist is going to make himself known. And the first thing that the Antichrist is going to do is perform miracles. Okay, in reality, it's not, the Antichrist is not an actual person that is going to come around that is an actual embodiment of the devil and go around and start, doing the things that the Bible mentions the Antichrist is going to do, like performing miracles, acting like he's Jesus. That's not what's going to happen. The Antichrist is not an actual person. There are people walking around right now that are already manifestations and embodiments of what you would consider the devil, like reincarnations of aspects of Satan, Lucifer, you name it. They're out there already. This has been going on for a long time. They're already out there. You can name almost any spirit, and there's some form of like an incarnation of that energy in a human body that's existing around us right now. So it's not, the Antichrist is not an actual person. What the Antichrist whole metaphorical story and idea is about is trying to talk about this new AI technology, and this is how it's manifesting in our society. So this neurological chip that I'm telling you about, what did I just mention that they're going to start using it for? They're going to use it before they start giving it to people to just enhance their intelligence and enhance their lives in general. They're going to start with people that have major issues, like, once again, people that are paraplegic, people that have epilepsy, people that are blind, people that can't move properly, someone that probably has, someone that has a stuttering effect where they can't speak and they stutter a lot. They're going to use it on those people so they can heal those people first. So you could already see the correlation between the Antichrist and this neurological chip. And once again, we go back to the Bible and we hear the mark of the beast. And the chip that gets implanted, they're going to use it to perform miracles on people that have those issues. And you could essentially call it the mark of the beast, because you're getting a mark, on you. Now, is that the best way to explain it? Not necessarily, but this is what's going on. It's not that when you get that neurological link or that chip implanted in you, that's an evil thing. It's not. With great power comes great responsibility. So here's where I'm going to start sharing. What I have already said so far, those are facts. You can go study them on your own, figure it out on your own. Now what I'm about to start sharing with you is what I think is going to happen. So these are not necessarily facts yet, but this is what I'm sharing with what I think we're going to move into, and I'm basing this off on what I'm basing this on is patterns. I'm basing this on of what I'm seeing in different cultures, what's being mentioned, and the patterns that have happened before in time. And also, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm picking up on intuitive knowings from my own past lives of like just knowing, like with a sense of just, I know that this is probably going to manifest this way. And whenever I have that intuition, whenever I have that feeling, it always does. It always is on point. So this is what I think is going to end up happening once this technology starts advancing. And they're talking about within the next year, as long as things go as planned. Elon Musk was mentioning they're gonna do their first implant within the next year. So within a year's time, that should be the first time they implant it in the first person to see if what they're doing is actually effective, and if they, what kind of tweaks they need to do and all those things. Now, definitely within the next 2 years, he's gearing towards, this will be a thing. This will be a common thing that we'll start using on people with severe medical issues. So now with what I'm sharing, this is what I think is going to happen. And I'm talking about this is going to be within the next 10 to 20 years, okay, with what I'm about to share with you. So I think that this is definitely going to happen. And, you know, they're going to start using this chip. They're going to start using it for medical patients. It's going to literally become a miracle. Literally, like people that were blind, their sight is going to come back. Okay, just like what we're hearing, you know, just like what Jesus did, right? It's this technology, guys. Very fascinating stuff. And I'm getting chills because even the ancient the ancient Egyptians, if you look at some of their statues, it looked like the brain. They had some rock statues that looked like the stem of the brain. And I guarantee you during the most advanced times in their civilization, they were doing very similar things with these neurological implants. Because from what we can understand, is that even the ancient Egyptians, 3,100 years ago, at the peak level of their society, they were intelligent. They had technologies that we didn't know about today. And that's what blows our mind about today, because so many of our scientists today and historians they can't really wrap their mind around, like, they think that the Egyptians were behind us. They think that that's how life works. They think that every generation gets smarter than the last one. And that's not true. It's just cycles. It's not necessarily like when I say generation, I mean in a big scale. Yes, it's true that every generation gets smarter than the next one, but I mean, we're talking about 3,100 years ago, entire civilization. What happens is it rises and then it crashes. This always happens, and it will always happen. That's how life works. It's literally the principle of creation and then destruction, and then a new creation, then a new destruction. Back in the past, the destruction came through floods. The destruction came through water because there used to be massive ice caps. We don't have those today. So look how it's manifesting now. It's manifesting through diseases. Isn't that fascinating? So it's inevitable that our society today, within time, and I can't give you a number, it could be 500 years from now, but it will eventually crash, and then a new society will rise out of that. And every new society that rises is a little bit different, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're more necessarily intelligent. We all have the intelligence within us. So this is the thing. Basically what my point was is the ancient Egyptians had the technologies that we have now. A lot of what we do in today's society is just recovering that knowledge and that gnosis. Okay, so what I'm getting at is they were doing these, I can guarantee you, they were doing these neurological implants back in those times at some point in that era. At some point. And obviously our society is much different now than it was then, but that doesn't undermine the fact that they had access to advanced technology then. It really doesn't undermine that fact. They knew things that we didn't know, that we're going to end up uncovering. But also at the same level is like, we are a completely different society now than what they were back then. Like, our society looks much different. Like, I guarantee you they didn't have laptops, they didn't have iPhones, they didn't have computers. They may have had different things though that had similar roles. Okay, so with every society, with every culture, there is a new evolution. Like, it does get a little more advanced, but that doesn't necessarily mean in a sense of wisdom, in a sense of common sense, right? Like, in today's society, it may look like we're really advanced because we have computers, we have laptops, we have iPhones and all this stuff, but really it's like a lot of our minds still act like we're not that evolved. You know, we're still arguing over the left and the right. We're still arguing over really dumb things. So it's not just about the technology. It's about the mindset. And basically what I'm saying is the Egyptians had the mindset. They did. Just like and there's a good amount of us in today's society that also have the mindset as well. So my point is, it's a reoccurring thing. Okay. But this is what, once again, going back to what I was saying, this is what I see is going to happen, is that they're going to start doing these neurological implants within the next year or so. And it's going to start healing people. And then as it starts to heal people, You know, it's the technology and the way it's used is just going to start evolving within itself. So people now, it's going to get to a point where normal people are using it, where people that don't necessarily have massive medical issues, but people that just want to experience a better life, people that want to feel better, people that want to be smarter, things in that nature, they're going to start getting their hands on it. And this is where it's going to get interesting, because I'm not 100% sure how that's going to manifest, where if, you know, it's obviously going to be very expensive to be able to get that. And people with money are going to have access to it, but people that don't are not. So it makes me question, like, is that going to be a separation between people that don't have money and people that do? And that will be very fascinating to see how that manifests, for sure, because the people that get that neurological link, they're going to have a step above in the game. Okay, they're going to have like 10 steps ahead of the game, because their brains are no longer functioning like normal human beings. It's functioning as this advanced being, because it's providing that stimulus in the areas that your brain is not active. And all you need is that stimulus to reactivate those dormant genes, genetic codes. So that will be very fascinating how that plays out. But this is what I think is going to eventually happen at some point in time. I can't tell you when, but I think this is a long time down the road. Hear me out. I think this is a long, like 100 years from now. I think that this technology is going to be very mainstream, meaning that a lot of people are going to be able, at some point in time, probably within 100 years, it's going to be very mainstream. A lot of people are going to have access to this technology. Just like with vaccines, I think that there is going to be some point in time where there will be some form of, oh, you don't have the neurological chip in your mind? You need it, okay? You need it in order to operate and even survive in our society. And that's going to be the idea that's going to be pushed to the media and pushed to society. I really think that this is going to happen at some point in time. And I think that, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. But as we know from the patterns in the past and throughout life, there always tends to be people that do not have that strong sense of responsibility that end up getting their hands or can have a massive influence over the control systems of what's going on with those neurological links. So you can only imagine if everyone's getting these implanted neurological links, and then there's like a new neurological link that is created that's 10 times better than that one, but then that new link is created by somebody who's literally got an archetype of like Hitler, someone who says they want society to be amazing, says they want all these great things, but in reality is a very dark, a very secretive and manipulative person. Can you imagine getting a link from someone like that in your mind and them doing something that causes that link to somewhat malfunction, and then you don't know how to, you know, you're not thinking your own thoughts anymore, and that literally controls an entire, like, the majority of the society. So if you go to speak out against it, other people will come at you. Isn't that, like, you could see how that could get crazy, and you could see how that could literally put an end to a society. That's just one idea that could end up happening at some point in time. Maybe it won't happen that way. This is the other idea that could happen. I know for sure what's going to happen is this will be a mainstream thing. Everyone will have these, everybody will have these links. What might happen, and this is like tying it back to the patterns of what I've seen, is that all the societies that have crashed at some point, which is all of them at some point, they get to a really advanced level where they no longer start worrying too much about their own spirituality. Literally, this is what happens. There gets to a point where the materialization and the materials of life are so advanced and there's so much depth that you can go into with them that spirituality isn't on the forefront. That it's not on the forefront anymore, and people are more concerned about the technological side of things. And that typically tends to be where that breaking point happens, where the society then has massive destruction. And because everything is created and founded from the spiritual realm. It's from the etheric, from the spiritual, as above, so below, as above. What's happening here is happening there. If we think what's happening here is only what's happening here and there's no above then that's when the above starts to react to what's down here, and things, you know, chaos and destruction starts to manifest. Now, I'm going to give you my personal belief on this video as well, and for me, I know this to be true. Life is about, like, Earth, and some people may have the question, well, what's the point of living if you know that every society is going to rise and crash? What is the point? That can ruin a lot of people's mindsets right there. That can hurt someone's purpose, because they're like, well, why am I trying so hard to better mankind if it's destined to crash? Well, here's the answer. Mankind, Earth, this is a training ground. I want you to think of this place as literally a reincarnation plane. Like, we come here to experience life, and not only to just experience life, but to also gain certain wisdom about the self, to gain knowledge about what's going on, and to strengthen your spirit. This place helps you strengthen your spirit, and that's why we come here. Unfortunately, a lot of people come here and they don't gain the knowledge they need in order to strengthen their spirit, and they end up wasting a lifetime. And when you waste a lifetime, you don't choose where you reincarnate the next time around. So you literally get caught on a cycle, and you repeat old habits. It sucks, because you just keep living over and over and over and repeating until you finally get it. And it could take, I don't know, it could take as long as it needs to take. But the goal is here, and this is what I believe, is that we're meant to help people. For people that do get it, for people that, like myself, I feel like I've become conscious in the astral and the etheric, and I chose to come down as Jeremiah. For those of you that don't know, when my parents named me, they did divination. Literally, like, they took the Bible and they opened to a random page, and that was just an intuitive feeling that they did. Where I believe I named myself. I believe my spirit influenced them to say, hey, look, I'm gonna name myself. Open the Bible, and that's my name. And it landed on Jeremiah. And so what I'm getting at is that for people like myself, I'm not the only person. Like, there's tons of other people out there that have consciously chose to be here. And what we do is we share our knowledge so that we can cause certain people that are caught in the mix to realize, look, hey, you're here not to just create the material life that you want to live. Yes, that's an aspect, and that's very important. But the bigger purpose is you're here to wake up and realize that when this is over, when death approaches and knocks on your door, that's just the next step. But if you don't realize that death is the next step to a different type of experience, of a new plane of existence, a new life, essentially, a new chapter. If you don't know that, then you're stuck here. You're bound here, and you're not gonna go to that next plane and have enough knowledge, wisdom, willpower to control what happens next. So what's gonna happen is you're gonna get absorbed into Source, which is what we're all a part of. We're all created by Source. You're going to get absorbed into Source and then spit back out as another consciousness, as another human being with an ego. Rather than when you pass with knowledge, with willpower, with understanding, you have a choice. You can choose to not absorb with Source because you carry Source in you. I can say, look, I'm not going back into you. I'm going to do some other things on the side over here. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to experience this. And then if I want to come back down to Earth at this time, then I'm going to do that. So that's the whole point. We're meant to wake people up, essentially, and it's not my obligation, once again, to wake people up, though. It's not necessarily my obligation. It makes me feel good to help people that need my help. I can tell when someone's asking for help and when someone needs my help. I don't feel like I need to help somebody. I don't feel like, hey, look, like that person's sleeping, I need to go wake them up. No, I would rather let that person sleep, because I'm not going to waste my energy trying to convince you for something that's good for you, okay? I like to do what I do, and I like to put my messages out there so that it so that it attracts the right people that are already on that verge of, like, just between waking up and figuring out, like, is this right? Is this okay? Is this gonna get me to the next level? Is this really what I should do? Or people that are in the mix of, like, I've been involved in this religion for so long. I'm told that I can't be doing this, but it feels like this is real. It feels like this is what my true path is. I'm here for you. I'm here for that person, because when you watch my videos, I hope you get a sense of what I'm saying, and I hope you feel the energy that's coming through the camera, because it is. When you're watching my videos, you're there with me. Okay, you're getting my spirit, you're getting my energy through the video. So I believe that, and I know that it really does shift people's life. Like, there's people that are iffy about what I'm talking about, and because they're watching my videos, they're starting to gain experience and knowledge. It's going to completely change your life, and it can completely wake you up. As I was saying, it can completely wake you up, and that is the whole entire goal. All right, so other than that, I think I definitely covered the whole idea on the Archons and the AI technology. Once again, to kind of summarize this whole thing, the Archon is a creation from the Demiurge, right? This is what it says. The Archon is the creation from the Demiurge that, you know, essentially destroys mankind, because mankind doesn't know how to use it responsibly. So if we can break down that text a little bit, we are the Demiurge. You're the Demiurge, he's the Demiurge, she's the Demiurge, I'm the Demiurge. We are that. We are the source, energy. We all carry that. We are the masters of our reality. Not necessarily masters, but we are the gods of our reality. Some of us are masters, some of us aren't. But we are that truly, if you can unlock it. And we are going to be the beings, and I'm not just saying like me and you specifically, I mean like as a society, as a mankind, we are going to create the Archon, which is going to be that AI technology that, with the wrong responsibility, could potentially be the downfall of everything. But once again, it's a pattern. Okay, it is a pattern. This is meant to happen, and throughout, you know, for those of us that are awake, and for those of us that know the right direction to move and what we're truly doing, we will always be okay, right? Like, you will always be okay, and to rebuild a new generation, a new culture even, there will always be those wise people, the people that know the right direction, that will have to be there, still living, still breathing, thriving, in order to recreate that new culture or generation. So knowledge is power. It truly is, and it can protect you from a lot of things, and it can cause you to get out of the way of harm, because what we call harm is typically a spirit of destruction that is meant to bring creation. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it here, guys. And and one last thing, this is going to be the age of Lucifer. For those of you that don't know, Lucifer is the light bearer, and he's got a lot of connections to electricity, a lot of connections to the AI, the whole idea of what this whole AI is. Okay, and Lucifer is the Archon of light. Okay, he is the essence of technology. So if you really want to, you know, you may very well start seeing his influence pop up in your day-to-day life, maybe after this video. But you'll definitely start to see how Lucifer gets more talked about and just gets bigger as an entity throughout this generation, and for the next, you know, for the next oncoming years that are ahead of us, moving into this AI age that we're moving into. You'll see it. So I just wanted to throw that little bit out there, but other than that, I'm gonna wrap this video up, guys. Hit the thumbs up button. Definitely, it helps me out. Hit that thumbs up button. Go over here, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell. I would really appreciate it. And I post videos often, so definitely hit that notification bell. Once again, go and check out the Patreon. It's going to be the first link in the description. Then you go to the link below that. It's going to take you to the Streamlabs merch, where you can place an order for a Hecate sigil shirt. They will ship it right to your door. Then you go to the third link below. That's going to take you to my Facebook community. On my Facebook community, I want to get a bunch of like-minded people together so that we can have some really powerful realizations, mind-blowing topics, mind-blowing discussions, all things in that nature. And I post a little bit of extra content on there as well. So definitely go and check that out. Third link below, you'll see a pinned post that says private group. You click that, enter into the private group, and I'll accept you in. And then that'll be it. But other than that, guys, I will see you on the next video. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and peace.